Thanks for joining us. Great to see so many new faces in the room and friends from Swedish media as well. Pleased to be joined by Leah Williamson ahead of Thursday's meeting with Sweden. Anton, we'll kick off with a couple of questions from yourself, and there are a lot of people in the room, so we'd ask that it's kept to 2 questions each maximum at this stage. Thank you.
Hello.
You spoke after the game, obviously, on Sunday, and you were very respectful of Sweden, saying you're expecting a tough game. Now I suppose you've started your analysis and started your training. Just how difficult an opponent are they going to be on Thursday night?
Yeah, we spoke the history, or Sweden's previous results at tournaments are incredible. They're relentless when it comes to tournament football. So yeah, we've been looking, and they're just a very organised team. They work hard. Obviously, some familiar faces. We know their characteristics, so it will be a tough game.
I know you're going to ask a lot of questions about the familiar faces, but it's a team full of threats, right? Not just sort of, everyone's talking about Stina, but it's a team full of threats that I suppose it's a really deep squad as well. How difficult are they to prepare for, because there are so many players that can hurt you?
Yeah, I think when you have a team that work for each other like Sweden, I suppose that's the way to say it, that you don't necessarily have to have a crazy standout threat here or here, because everybody plays their role. So yeah, they are hard to prepare for in that sense, and I say the discipline of them all to complete their job on the pitch makes them a dangerous side.
Yeah, Leah, I just want to ask you about Stina Blackstenius, obviously someone that you know well. She scored the winner for Arsenal in the Champions League. She seems to be playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. How big a threat is she from what you know of her?
Yeah, Stina is an incredibly powerful footballer, and I think she's very intelligent with her runs. She's a hard player to play against in that respect. And I was celebrating her success at Arsenal, not so much now. So we'll see. But yeah, she's a great player, and she has been for many years now. So her experience speaks for itself.
Of course, the last time England played Sweden in a major tournament was 2022, that famous win at Bramwell Lane. I don't know if you've ever spoken to Stina about it or something like that, but do you get the sense that it's something that Sweden are maybe still smarting from, that it still hurts for them?
I think when you come up against a team when you had a previous fixture like that, then you're always probably going to remember it. But I think so much has happened since, and we alluded to it the other night. It's two very different teams now compared to that night, and I haven't spoken to them about it. But I think because we played each other twice since, and obviously last year, it's kind of, well, for us it seems like a long time ago, so maybe for them too.
I just wondered if you had a chance to sort of look across the group stage as a whole, what you've made of it, any surprises? Did you expect sort of Sweden to do so well, and other results?
It's funny when you're playing in a tournament. Obviously, it's nice. You get to watch football every day, almost like a fan, and then you've always sort of got one eye on it as a footballer. So there's been, I don't know. I don't suppose you can focus too much on anybody else's journey. I think we had our work out for us in our own group. So obviously, everybody tuned in for Sweden versus Germany, and could have gone either way. But very dramatic game. So it's hard to take from it either way.
And how's the general mood in the camp now? You've been together a few weeks. Obviously, the setback to start with, and now the strong results since then.
What would you do if I told you we were all ready to kill each other? We're not. We're very much enjoying each other's company so far. So, yeah, it's a good mood in the camp. We've had some really nice moments where we've brought family in and amongst it as well. It's obviously very different. I know I wasn't in Australia, but you go back to 2022, we were in London. It was very different setup, and everybody's made a lot of effort to come out here. So it's been really lovely to have moments where we've come together like that. And it makes a big difference when you're away from home. Like at the end of the day, we're just human beings, and we're here for a job, but we are away for a long time. So yeah, it's been lovely, and everybody, like I said, so far everybody's in a good place with each other.
Thanks, Rob. Emma.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
I just want to, you mentioned the Sweden-Germany game, and I wonder, Sweden obviously had that amazing result, really good performance, clearly a very good team, but were you surprised by that result? Because obviously Germany were a lot of people's pre-tournament favourites.
Yeah, I think I said this the other day as well. I think Sweden are, I don't think it's, maybe disrespectful is too strong a word, but I do think that they deserve a little bit more recognition and, like you said, Germany were most people's favourites, and still probably are, but I think it didn't necessarily surprise me. I think Sweden are capable of that, and having played against them, like I said, it's a hard game, it's always a really tough game, but the game changed obviously so much with the red card, so like I say, it's tough to take from it either way.
You've obviously spoken about Stina just then. I just wonder, as a defender who's coming up against a player like her, is that the challenge that you really relish, that you really enjoy, just testing yourself against some of the best forwards?
It's always it's different because obviously playing against each other in training, maybe in a drill with restrictions, or it's very rare that I'll play against Stina in this setting. So I enjoy it. I like Stina, so it's tough to sort of just remove all of that to then just go at it, and you don't want to focus too much. There's loads of different things that come into play when you play against a teammate, but I think I've known Stina long enough now that it's kind of I know who she is, and it's time for us to focus on us.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Just go next to you.
Hi, Leah. I have
Hi.
a couple of questions about Sarina Wiegman. She's taken her teams to 4 straight finals. What do you say? What makes her stand out as a coach?
I've spoken about it before. She is a winner. She likes to win. She's very competitive, even when it comes to darts. So she just has that kind of the edge to her, I suppose, in that sense. And we spoke about it in 22 when she obviously took us to the final, and sort of bringing that mentality on board and coupling it with the football. But I think she works well with the team around her, and she empowers us, which I think is important, especially coming from a woman and sort of having that bond throughout football. I think she sees us, gives us space to be ourselves, and then encourages us to be better, and really does encourage us to be better in a positive way.
And how would you describe the impact she's had on the English national team?
I think straight away, the English are known for having a certain type of mentality, and I don't know what the word is, but sort of a fight about us, and historically maybe quite a defensive team. And I remember one of the first things she ever said was, just slow down. You want to work so hard, but just focus on the football. So I think that's probably the biggest influence, I'd say, and the change in the team since she's been in charge. Thanks.
Hi, Leah. What did you make of the game you played against Sweden in Gothenburg last year? Because I know Thursday would be a completely different level, but that was probably almost as close as to a major tournament intensity as you could get. So yeah, what were your memories of that game?
Just to clarify, that was the qualification.
The July game, yeah.
Yeah, just checking. I didn't know what city we were in. Sorry, that's distracted me. Imagine I started an answer. I think there was a lot on the line, obviously, that day, because we needed to qualify and we needed a result. I think you asked about the intensity, and I think it probably is the closest, with it being the second time that we played them as well. But I remember it being quite a cagey game in that respect, same as the one at Wembley, and I think it'll be different now. Obviously, it's knockout football, and one of us is going home.
And for you, being a captain who's lifted one major tournament title puts you in pretty exclusive company in English sport. If you manage to lift a second trophy, you might be in a class of your own. Just how much does, I guess, that pursuit of unprecedented history drive you as an individual?
I think it drives that sort of because of the mentality of the team, and we're all in the same boat. I think that's what drives me, that to do it alongside the team in 2022 was special, to go on this journey with a different group of people, and to be one of the ones that has that, I was part of that squad, and I'll be forever proud to have been part of that squad, but we don't want it to be the only one. So naturally it's a constant driver. You want to do more, you always want to do more, and I'd like to say that on that day I felt as happy as I'd ever felt, and that probably would have been enough for me. But you start the next day, it creeps around, and everybody wants more all the time. So obviously I wasn't in Australia either, and I think that level of being so close and constantly feeling like we have the potential and trying to get it out of ourselves. I think that's why we always say about how we'll work as hard as we can and we'll do everything we can and we keep our dreams sort of up there, but on a day-to-day basis, maybe very English thing to say, but very much removed from thoughts, I think.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll go to Catherine. Thank you.
Hi, Leah. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about Jill Scott. Obviously, the players kind of spoke how influential she was in 2022, and I know she's kind of been around the hotel, and it feels like she's maybe sort of an unofficial.
You can't get rid of
mentor.
her.
Yeah. How nice is it to have her around and just, you know, to kind of speak to, and especially kind of for the younger players as well?
Yeah, I've had a couple of conversations already this tournament with Jill, like one-to-one, and she is. I know she's a funny character and one of the less serious of previous teams, but she can be, and she has such a, I don't know, so many experiences of her own, but just incredible perspective, and she does actually help us out. We were begging for her when she retired to somebody to employ her in the FA just to bring her along, so I'm glad that she is here, and I'm glad she's found a way to be here, and I think it's only ever a positive thing for the team. She's one of the greatest teammates I've ever had, and I think even the girls that weren't in that team and just know her as who she is now can see why, and I think she's a great example of who we should aim to be, so I'm glad she's around.
Thanks. Charlotte?
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Lucy Bronze said you still have the Euro 2022 WhatsApp group chat. I just wanted to ask, like, what are the nature of those messages, and if you've turned to anyone specifically to support you through this tournament?
It's just mostly sort of good luck and well done, or we believe in you. And I think when players have been part of a setup, especially that aren't necessarily here, those players are still in that group chat as well. And for them to, for whatever reason, for them to sort of reinforce their belief in the team and want to be part of it, I think that speaks volumes of the group. But that group chat was originally created for the celebrations, so every time it pops up, it's not a bad thing to. Most group chats we all sort of archive at different points, don't we, on mute, but not that one. But no, it's mostly we're very tame. I wish we had more banter, but it's not going to come from me. So.
And anyone that you've turned to specifically?
Like I say, Jill, I've spoken to Jill quite a lot just being here, but obviously I think everybody has their own sort of support system, and mine's worked fairly well for me in recent times, so yeah, it's less in and more out my own personal communication with certain people.
And I remember when we spoke after Euro 2022, a big thing for you was staying present.
Yeah.
Like, you refused to pack your suitcase and, you know, never looked at the clock at match days or anything like that, because you just wanted to be so focused in the moment. Yeah. Especially having missed 2023 World Cup. Are there any specific examples that are grounding you day to day or making you just try and be as present as possible?
I tried to do it in the way that I packed this time, like just sort of bringing things that, say even, you know, everybody packs something for their entertainment. Kira always takes the mick and says I pick up a new hobby every tournament and never follow through with it. But even in that sense, I've just tried to be, I want to enjoy it and I want to spend time with my teammates. And I wasn't joking earlier, you know, it's a great environment and I love being around them all. So Beth Mead was laughing at me the other day because I basically did a day in the life of her, which meant I didn't go back to my room and I was very sociable. And by the end of the day, I slept good. And I said to her, I don't know how you do this every day. And she said, this is my everyday. I said, yeah, it's crazy to me. I'm not that type of person. But little things like that, just trying to be around. And I think 2022, I slept most of the time that I wasn't on a pitch. So, yeah, a bit different this time.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. Still a lot of hands up, so we'll keep it to a question each. We'll go to Tom.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
I was just looking at the match coming up. Sweden have made the most crosses out of any team in the Euros, and they also love an in-swinging corner. I was just wondering if you're preparing for sort of a battle in the air as much as it might be on the ground come Thursday?
Yes, definitely. It's one of their main threats, and they are good at it. So definitely something that we've had a look at. Obviously, you want to try and stop the crosses, but all very much prepared for the battle in the air, yeah. Yeah, again, one of their main strengths, I think that comes with discipline. They're great athletes and they produce great athletes as a country. So I think we are too. So, you know, obviously it's a good battle in that sense. But yeah, definitely something that we have to be prepared for.
Go on, Tom.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Yeah, I mean, the Sweden squad has got quite a few players who are kind of, you know, in their early mid-30s, have been through these tournaments over and over and over. And can it sometimes feel like, you know, you as the senior players in the squad have been around for ages, and then you look at someone like Aslani or some of the other players in the squad and think, oh, okay, no, we're having to grow a lot at this stage of our career. I mean, is that something that kind of comes back into focus when you look at these Swedish players, and how are you kind of approaching that?
Yeah, they do hold a lot of experience in the team. Like I said, even about Stina, we're similar age, but she has a lot more experience than me. So something that we respect. And I think the examples that we have of it in our team, say for example, Lucy and Alex, I think we lean on them as much as we can in certain moments, and I think they're fantastic role models for the rest of us that haven't necessarily walked in their shoes. But no, it's always a benefit, I think, for a team to have that, and Sweden do. But I think we have a very mature team, and I think, like you say, maybe that experience has just come a lot quicker for a lot of our players. But it's all in the bank, so you hope that you can, it pays off.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Leah.
Hello.
How have you found building a centre-back partnership with Jess? Because it feels like that's clicked pretty quickly after the France game and her being moved into alongside you.
Jess is just a real no-nonsense player, and she's a really big communicator, so that works, especially when you have sort of a new partnership like that. I think the more you talk, the more you try and get on the same page before anything's actually happened, the better. But yeah, Jess is an easy player to play with in that regard, because she does her job, and like I say, she's no nonsense.
Nice one, thanks.
Thanks, Susie. Tara?
Hey, Leah.
Hi.
I was just wondering, how do you kind of reflect on your kind of development as a captain since that 2022 run?
I mean, at the time I had to have a conversation about, with the people around me about what that looked like for me. I'd never done that role ever. And I think I lead from within. I think that's my style. But I think people like Kim Little, especially over the last couple of years, we've had quite a lot of conversations about it, because maybe in our nature is to be slightly more passive, or sort of let things play out, and sometimes you have to be a bit more engaged and deal with things when they're actually happening. So I think maybe that development of just trying to recognise moments where it would be beneficial to act, rather than sort of trying to step back from the spotlight as much as possible, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Tara. Aisha?
Hi, Leah.
Hello.
I was catching up with some of the Sweden fans the other day, and I said, what do you make of the clash? Do you think you can beat the Lionesses? And they said, well, ABBA are better than the Beatles, so we're going to win.
Oh, that's a strong statement.
Yeah, I wanted your take on it, whether you agree with that statement or not.
I don't, I'm afraid, no. One might be easier to dance to, but no, I'm afraid not.
So banned from the playlist ahead of that game then? No,
yeah,
ABBA.
I don't think that'll be on the playlist. But I mean, it worked in 2022, so I don't want to banish ABBA completely.
Thanks. Go to Holly. Thank you.
Hi, Leah. The hotel obviously is so luxurious, and the players have spoken about that already. In fact, it's been the envy, I think, of some of the other teams who've joked that they wish they had the same sort of lakeside views. I just wondered, do you think that coming back to somewhere as beautiful as the Dal de Grande, that it's an advantage to your game being able to come back and relax here? And if you don't mind me asking, how do you divvy up the rooms?
That's got nothing to do with me, that conversation. We get given a key and that's it. So, if you get a good one, you don't argue, and if you get a bad one, you do. That's probably how it goes. But I think it's more the setting. Obviously, the hotel is incredible, and the facilities available to us from a performance perspective. We have everything that we need, which is is great, obviously. It's the most important thing, but as a setting and being a bit further away from the centre, I think is the most beneficial to us. And when we got back the other night, it was a sense of relief, because you sort of make a base camp and it is your home away from home. And I've said this before, but the staff have done such an incredible job, and the FA of just subtle branding or things that just make you feel like you are back home. So yeah.
Would you say it's an advantage then?
Definitely an advantage, I'd say, just because it's you try and make any situation an advantage to you, and I think we've done, the Lensbury in 2022, we were on the boats on the river and it was great for downtime. This is more, performance related. I think that we feel comfortable here.
Thanks. 2 more questions, Kat and Flo at
Hi
the
there.
back.
Just off the back of that question, obviously you're now playing 3 out of your 4 matches here at the same ground as well. Is that also something that's quite helpful, being able to be so familiar with the place that you're playing, maybe feel a bit like a home away from home at the stadium as well?
Yeah, I think it's much like the hotel. It's not something you necessarily think about, but I suppose so. Being familiar with your surroundings and just not having to expend any energy on the unknown, I suppose is where the real advantage comes. The family don't like it because they're far away from the pitch with the running track, but I can't help that. So yeah, I think the expenditure of energy on things that you can't control is usually sort of a bad distraction.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to the back of the room to Flo Lloyd-Hughes. Thank you.
Hey Leah, just wanted to follow up on what you mentioned about watching games as a fan.
Yeah.
Do you find it easy to switch off when you guys are just watching games here, or do you find that you're still doing that analysis and picking up things at the same time?
I think you can't escape it. That's why I think a lot of us say, like, tournaments are great, but if you could do it all over again and do it from, the outside, it'd probably be just as fun in a different way. But yeah, I wouldn't say we're necessarily sitting, we don't take our notepads, but you can't switch off from it, and everybody's a potential opponent at some point, so you're watching with one eye on that, and also so many different people, there's so many elements to it.
Is there a particular team you've enjoyed watching the most so far?
I've really enjoyed watching Switzerland. Obviously, my best friend plays for them, but I think having been part of a home tournament and knowing what it means and to see everything happening, and for the tournament as a whole, them getting through was a fantastic thing. We speak all the time, wins for women's football. That felt like one of those.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.